Hello, friends. Welcome to today's GST Quick Info Bite. Well, in today's session, let's try to understand the GST rate on freight charges where it is levied by the supplier of the goods and it is included in the invoice. In many instances, transportation is provided along with the supply of the goods by the supplier himself, and hence freight charges are shown in the tax invoice. Now, the question which arises here is, what is the GST rate to be charged in such cases? Now, let's consider one case, that is, what if supplier has raised the invoice which consists of only one item and also freight is levied in the same invoice? The question is, what shall be the GST rate on the freight charges in such case? Let's consider one example as well. If supplier, say for example, A issued invoice to B for the item of costing rupees 2 lakhs, and the applicable GST rate on such item is, say for example, 5%. For the freight charges of rupees 10,000 is also levied in the same invoice. Now, where transportation is provided along with the supply of the goods, then transportation services are taxable at the same GST rate as is applicable to the goods involved. Supplier cannot charge separately different GST rate on the freight charges and for the supply of the goods in the same invoice. In this case of one invoice containing one item with freight charges will constitute composite supply. Now, what does this composite supply mean? Well, a supply made by a taxable person to a recipient consisting of two or more taxable supplies or combination thereof, which are naturally bundled and supplied in conjunction with each other in the ordinary course of business, and one of which is the principal supply. So, in this example, what is the GST rate on the freight charges to be applied? So, if we consider this particular example and scenario, freight charge is charged in the same invoice and the invoice consists of only one item. So this transaction will fall within the definition of composite supply, and the GST rate of 5% shall be applicable on the entire value of rupees 2,10,000. Now, moving on to the second case or second scenario, what is the GST rate on the freight charges if invoice consists of more than one item or multiple items with different GST rate for each such item? For example, let's say if supplier A has issued a single invoice for sale of 3 items to B. Now, let's consider item A is costing rupees 30,000 and the applicable GST rate for such item A is 5%, and item B is costing 50,000 and the applicable GST rate for the item B is 12%. And say, for example, item C is costing rupees 60,000 and the applicable GST rate for item C is 18%. Assume that these items are independent and not related to each other. Now, supplier A has levied freight charges of rupees 18,000 in the same invoice against all these items. In this case, now the question is, what is the GST rate on freight charges of rupees 18,000? Is it 5%, 12%, or 18%? This supply transaction specifically cannot be termed as composite supply as the goods are independent items and thus cannot be termed as naturally bundled. Further, it is not the case of mixed supply also, as they can be sold separately and there is no single price for the items, but all are having their own individual prices. As the supplier is charging freight in the same invoice for all the items taken together, so the question arises as to what is the GST rate to be charged for the freight of rupees 18,000. Here, it is suggested that the GST rate should be charged proportionately as per the value of the individual item. The example has been solved for your easy reference. Thank you, friends, for watching this video. I request you to subscribe to this channel and also press the bell button to get instant notification on the release of any video from the Outlier 73. Thank you.